Welcome back to episode 4 of the More Smarter Show with your hosts, Dylan and Jake. Jake, what did we talk about this episode?
We talked about you a lot. We talked about how you, in real estate agent land, met with someone who owns a brokerage and how that went.
Mm-hmm. Real estate agent land, I like that. Yeah, and then we talked about house hacking mindset and how that is something that can be stretched across multiple different avenues and branches of life, and how it's not just investing in real estate.
And lastly, we talked about Dylan's specific situation of buying a home, not buying a home, and if this were less censored, I would be calling him names for not buying a home yet.
Yeah, so enjoy. So, Jake, you and I are both realtors, and there is one big broker company that... There's one big that I'm thinking of that I'm not going to say. Okay. There's a lot, but there's one that I'm thinking of. In this example. And I met with them yesterday. And contrary to what a lot of realtors and people in the real estate industry believe is something that I'm about to say, and that we agree. We agree to disagree of what they think.
Okay, wait. So you met with a broker?
I met with a broker.
Mm-hmm. A company.
Why? And I was just trying to hear them out. Cool. We're both at EXP, just trying to hear them out. I'm always open to
I meet with a ton
exactly.
of people.
Yeah, I'm always open to see. But when I was going deeper into it, we'll get into that. But
is this a working smarter situation? I mean, more smarter?
Yes.
Cool.
But it's also more in the grand scheme of things.
Cool.
Where I met with him and I told him pretty much about you and how we're both at EXP. You brought me on to EXP.
Did you say my name?
I did say your name.
Okay.
I was like, Jake Handler, he's my sponsor at EXP. He's also someone that I look up to in like overall life and in real estate.
Cool.
And he was like, oh, what's his name? And then I said the name. He was typing on his computer, and then in a matter of seconds, he turned it around. He was like, he pointed at the screen. He was like, you and him almost have like the same sales this year. And I was like,
hold on. So you said my name. He Googled me.
Maybe not.
Got my
he
Zillow
had like
or
some
something.
sort of
got
crazy
my MLS
thing.
or Zillow.
Yep.
And his number of sales was the same as you. I definitely have more. But go on.
I don't know. You might barely have more. But he was like, this is the guy that you're like looking up to. Like he was like almost like dissing you for not having that many sales.
It's fair.
And I was like, well, it's not about that. And then, but immediately right as I said that, I saw like a look in his face that he was like confused. And obviously very like intelligent person, but it was confused because he just doesn't understand, I guess, that
working more
smarter. Yeah.
Okay, so let's backtrack. So I understand. So you use me as an example of someone you might be looking up to, but not just in business.
Yes.
Or not just at least in this, in this
that's
business.
where I specified.
In this specific business.
Yes, exactly.
That's cool. So this person probably had the mindset like, hey, come to this brokerage, sell more houses, make more money.
Yeah.
And he's probably not wrong about that.
Wrong.
He's probably right.
He's probably not wrong.
Yeah.
But then when you get into more of the details and he'll pitch what this company has to offer, it's everything that you can get at any other brokerage. Like you can do the exact same thing.
Including ours, is the same.
Exactly. Yeah. It's the exact same thing. Yeah. So it's more about the people that you're surrounded with. But let's dive a little bit more deeper into that, where it's in the traditional real estate mind, it's more about how many transactions and what's your amount of volume that you actually close.
So
you disagree with this,
yes.
and you've almost red-pilled me on this topic where now I disagree with it. And when I told him that, I saw that confused look, and I was like, man, this guy, like, how long has he been in the business? And he's still, probably in 10 years, he's still going to be doing the exact same thing.
Well,
that's why you see so many agents at that brokerage doing the exact same thing, selling for
more
30
houses
years.
than us.
Yeah, but where is that taking?
And that's what we're saying, that we're agreeing with that.
Yeah.
And my red pill and now yours red pill as well, you're saying essentially like, hey, I don't want to be the number one realtor.
Yeah.
If I am that, then the other parts of my life or even my businesses, my financial life is not where I want it to be.
Yeah. And
that's hard to grasp.
It's
for
very,
most
very,
people.
very hard to grasp. Yeah. But I even think like even if you do become like a high producing agent, you can still do that in a very systematic way.
Yes.
Where you aren't running around being that busy agent. And that's in my eyes, the only way of doing it now, where it's like, I don't want to be that busy agent that is now pushed like for everyone. And that's what came from my team roots. But I think now
But
it's
we
more
all get
prevalent than ever.
into the business to do more of it.
Yes.
And we all start, I didn't necessarily do this exact thing, but a lot of people just like toss their business card out at ShopRite, hoping their phone rings, hoping they get the opportunity to sell more and do more business.
Mm-hmm.
And where I have sort of shifted, and seems like you're coming along, is like, no, we want the right people calling us. We don't want quantity, we want quality.
Yeah.
And there's a difference between someone at ShopRite who doesn't know you calling you and trying to do business with that person versus your friend of 10 years.
Yeah.
There's inherent trust.
Yeah.
And we're trying to be the favorite, not the fool.
Not the fool.
And be with someone who we know is going to stick with us.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's more than that too then, because when you look at it like that, then you're able to the way you work is different. And that's like where you're kind of getting at.
Yeah.
Is now it's like now you don't have to prove to this person that you're a trustworthy realtor and that they should trust you in their home process and kind of do exactly what you say in order to get the best results, because now it's like you're changing the whole game in their mind. It's, and now what I've done as like I'm doing these initial like kind of calls, these buyer buyer consultations. Yeah,
Okay.
to start what I say is
In a way to work more smarter.
Exactly.
I keep forgetting the more.
Yeah, the more smarter. Is what are your expectations of me? And that alleviates all of, I think, like any unwritten stress, where it's like, now I can just get it all out. They can get it all out on the table and say, this is what I expect of you. And then now, if we're going to talk of any like rebuttals, that's where that's happening.
when it happens.
Exactly.
It's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, right? Easiest time to educate a dog is when they're a puppy.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing with your relationship. The
Yes.
easiest time to say the hard things is the first call.
Yes.
And if you're meeting someone at a house and you don't know them and that's how your first meeting, then there's some precedent that's, you're not, your relationship is already off to a different start than that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because then it's just like, then you are by definition a door opener.
Yeah, exactly.
Unless you set the standard that
Before that.
it's not going to go that way.
Before you
and the
open that
reason
door.
why that's being said, obviously, is because I was at that point, and I think you were at that point too, where maybe
we both went hard, and I think everyone does this, right?
Yes.
You go like full speed,
yes,
and then some people continue that full speed, and we both were at our points where we're like, wait, full speed, let's backtrack a little bit. Let's not go back to zero, but let's slowly zoom out and see what that speed should be.
yes, exactly. And then that is, I think, where that's the perfect definition of the leveling up process.
Yeah.
Where it's like you're going full speed, doing a bunch of different random things.
Yeah.
And then you're like, wait, there's no way of growing my business
You're
this way.
eliminating things, therefore leveling up.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So it's the process of elimination of getting rid of all the excess junk to take it to the next level.
Yeah.
And
so did you tell this broker owner or whoever it was your mindset and how it's different than?
I didn't want to get into that because honestly,
disagreed with him?
the first thing that I said was when he said he does the same amount of business as you, which I do, but no.
Okay. Yeah.
And he was like, I was like, yeah, well, it's more than that. It's like more like a life goals,
Gotcha.
like investing in real estate and doing all that sort of like other businesses. And he was like, okay, gotcha. But my next thought after that was like, I actually don't even want to be a really high producing agent. And it's like, maybe I should not say that to him. But because I think when that's said, now it's like, all right, this guy is not
wasting my time.
Yeah, exactly.
Which you don't want to come
Which
off
I don't want
doing
to come
that.
off.
But you are being
but
honest
I am,
about what your intentions are.
Exactly. So, but I also, now thinking about it, it's like I should never waste my time doing that anymore.
Yeah, I
like
used
it's
to do that
only a
more.
phone call.
Yeah.
It's only a phone call now.
Yeah, I had someone call me in a similar way, and it was like a smaller brokerage, so it was like someone just I would be more connected with, more so than a bigger brokerage where you're kind of, not that. And he called me and he said, "Hey, I see you do a lot of rental listings. Do you want to, I'm trying to remember, like, do you want to partner with us and we'll do the listings and you can just like get all the leads to do the showings or something like that. And we'll give you, and we do more rental listings than that. So you'll have a ton." And I was like, that is the last thing I ever want to do.
Yeah. Well, that's
and
your pitch to a bunch of other people.
Yeah, that
too.
is actually the way. Yeah, more what he's saying.
Yeah,
And we
exactly.
actually connected on that. I was like, no, but that's exactly what I want to do also.
Yeah.
We are completely not the right fit for each other.
Yeah.
But it's cool to see someone else does this.
Yeah. And then what he
we
said
just like
when-
connected over it.
Yeah.
But I respect him and vice versa, I think, because we were just like, this will not work out together, like straight up.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking of another situation where I got this call. Do you ever get calls from like real estate investor things out in other states? Like I think maybe through Bigger Pockets or something, because I'm on
probably.
there. They probably have my number.
Probably.
So they like have turnkey homes and asking if I want to buy them, essentially, in like Detroit
As an investor.
as an investor.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I gave this guy time of day for some reason, and we spoke about it. We were on the phone for like 20 minutes. It was just
my
I was in one of
gosh.
those moods to keep this going.
Yeah.
And as a real estate investor, it is so not my mentality to buy a turnkey property in Detroit for cash flow.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, it cash flows. And I'm like, well, I know that, but that is the last thing I want right now. And he's like, well, you're a real estate investor, so you just want a ton of cash flowing properties for as little maintenance as possible. I said, no, I don't. You're literally not hearing me.
Yeah.
So I guess we can transition this into working smarter, more smarter.
You could just say smarter.
It's wrong. It's grammatically incorrect. Working more smarter with real estate investing.
Yeah. And I think the baseline of it too is it's against the grain. It's not the traditional route of
So
thinking.
talk about that on the real estate investing front, because you don't real estate invest yet.
No,
but
not
you definitely are doing everything you can to take that path. Mm-hmm. So like house hacking, for example.
Yeah.
How would that be? Like, explain that and how that is in your future to work more smarter.
Yeah. So what house hacking is for someone who doesn't know is you're pretty much buying a house and renting at least part of it out. So it's either a multifamily property that you're going to be renting out 1 unit, 2 units, whatever it is.
Did you just come up with that?
Yeah, I just came up with house hacking. Yeah, it's crazy, right? No,
It's a proven method.
Yeah. So that is, or you could be renting out a room like you did with your condo. So why that is a great thing is, in my opinion, there's two ways of looking at it. The best way to first get into a house hack is to buy a wedge deal. Now that's not going into anything of house hacking.
That's
wedge
a new
deal.
word. Go
You
on.
never heard that?
No.
So it's buying a wedge deal where it's below market value. That's what the definition. Buying a house below market value that needs some renovations that will boost the value up to market. And when you do that, you're able to now, there's so many different routes to go from with that. So, but if we're gonna go into house hacking and why that I believe is the route that you can kind of go, is one of the biggest expenses in life is your living expenses. And if you could minimize that as much as possible with house hacking, with someone else paying for your mortgage or part of your mortgage,
Right.
then when you do that, then you're able to use that other money that you would be paying towards that to now go and invest in other things.
Right. So house hacking, you're just collecting rent while living there.
Yes.
And most people just buy a house and don't have tenants in there, obviously, right?
Yeah.
That's the more common
the primary,
method, right? So house hacking is slightly different, and this is a way to offset your mortgage and help your living expenses.
Yeah. Do you want to talk about how you're doing that at your current house?
So
that
I'll
isn't
talk
really.
about I'll
talk about your
talk about
experience.
I have a few experiences house hacking, but I'm connecting this now to the past subject, which was working more smarter, being a realtor, and the fact that you told this guy, it's not about necessarily selling houses. I do want more money. I do want to sell more houses and want more money, but I want to buy a house myself and house hack.
Yeah.
And a wedge deal in particular.
Yeah.
I want to surround myself with those people
Exactly.
versus people hosting open houses on football Sundays.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. And that's actually so funny that he said that exact same thing. He was like, it's Father's Day weekend this weekend. I'm specifically not doing it. I'm doing actually one showing for a rental.
You are?
Because I'm going to be in the area.
I'll allow it.
So that's
As your father, I will allow it.
Yeah. So, but confirm with my dad.
The pod father.
Yeah, the pod father. So, doing stuff like that, he's like, oh yeah, we're gonna have open houses on Father's Day weekend. It's like that was his draw to you. That was we offer open houses, we offer these mailers, we offer X, Y, and Z, and it's like, number one, what's stopping me from doing that on my own? Nothing is the answer.
Yeah.
And then also, I don't want half of the stuff that you're offering me.
Right.
It's stuff that's gonna draw in someone who doesn't think like this, but it's not going to draw in someone.
So the conclusion I'm going to assume to draw is that most people at that brokerage aren't house hackers.
Yeah.
And that's kind of where I'm going with this.
Yes.
And
I also think, and I hate to bring this up, but you know, like the Tate brothers, they have this saying that's like a brokey, and it's like you're a brokey, but it's not just money; it's a mindset. You have a brokey mindset. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like you have a house hacker mindset. Like I have a house hacker mindset. I may not be a house hacker. I may not be a brokey, but I have that mindset.
Correct.
Where it's
and therefore it's in your path
going
to
be
do.
going across all different realms.
Yeah,
and it's not going to be just in house hacking and owning real estate, but it's also through being a realtor and other businesses and all that sort of stuff. So
I think house hacking is a good foundation.
Yes.
Shout out Foundation Title as a sponsor. I didn't even mean to make that connection, but look at that.
No pun intended.
So foundation is house hacking is an excellent foundation to business and life, right? Especially the younger you are, the easier it is to do.
Yes. Yeah.
And I've house hacked a few different homes in a few different ways. And first, I'm going to object to what you said before. Okay. The wedge deal, meaning it's under market value, right? Yeah. I've never heard the term. Yeah.
Yeah. So there's a guy.
I paid over asking for both. For two of my houses.
Yeah, but I think you also are thinking long term.
Correct. That's why it doesn't matter.
I agree.
If you're buying a flip, you absolutely need to buy a better
deal.
But
what I'm saying with that is more if you find a wedge deal, then you have options. So like if you find a wedge deal, you should buy
multiple
and you can either
strategies.
rent it out, like long-term rental, or flip it, or live in it and house hack, whatever you want to do. You have multiple different options. So that's why I think
that's gravy for sure.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to pay less for my houses also, but for a house hacker in your early 20s, mid 20s,
it's hard.
Just buy somewhere you want to live.
Yeah.
It's that simple, right? Because you're going to hold it forever, ideally, and you're going to live in it.
True.
And you're going to rent some of it out. So it's almost as long as you can technically afford it through a lender, then you could probably afford it, because the lender's not going to always include. It depends on the type of home it is.
Yeah.
The lender can or cannot include the other rental income to help you buy it.
Yeah.
But that's just gravy, right? Again, it's like just buy a house. Like I've been telling you we've known each other for years.
Well,
like, why haven't you bought a house yet?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, as a realtor, it's hard to qualify for a loan. So that's like
true.
The main thing.
And I was a teacher, so that was different. So I was able to a W-2.
Yeah. So exactly. So like I have a lot of there's a lot of people that are in the industry. I think that might be one of the reasons why they get so caught up in it, is because
of a deal. Yeah. It's not good.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think what you're saying is, we are so in tune to the market that we'll see a house that was $500K last year now be $550, and we'll be afraid to buy it as us, because we know how the sausage is made. Like we could have bought it a year ago.
I know. Yeah.
But you got to get that out of your head, because next year it's going to be 600.
Well, so part of that in my mind is when I graduated high school in 2021. And I was looking at some past like history of sales where I would want to buy, and so now it's 2025, and so 4 years later, and I look at multifamilies that I would love to buy, and those sold 4 years ago, and they were on market for 50 days and sold 50K above or under asking price. And now
and
it's
a
like
3-4% rate.
Yeah, a 3-4% rate, and it's like only if I just skipped math class and just went and bought real estate instead, that I mean, that would be great, you know. But more of the story is like it's really putting people that are in my age bracket or even people that are ready to buy in a tough spot. So
my age bracket too.
Yeah,
definitely.
True.
It's not easy.
So when you look at it like that, it's like I have like a lot of clients that are also thinking the same thing. It's like, why would I buy this house right now? Because how much it is.
But here's the thing: just like when I quit teaching, does it get easier with time or harder with time to buy a house?
Yeah, easier.
Harder.
If you buy,
the easiest time to make a tough decision is now. Is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
And the easiest time to take a risk is now.
Fair. I thought you meant once you buy the first house.
No, sorry.
It gets easier as you go on, for sure. But
okay, yes. But what I meant is, if I could have kept teaching, I didn't want to quit, but I thought, well, when I'm, in 5 years, it's going to be harder to quit, so I'm going to do it now. That's my same advice to you with buying a house. Your savings is not going to outpace the market.
Yeah.
Right?
True.
So it's only going to get harder, and life is only going to happen more.
Yeah. Fair. I mean, that's something that I always think about, where I don't want to, like, for me, I have full confidence that I'm going to be making money. Like, I'm working 7 days a week. I don't, like, it's not a, well, whether you consider this work or not. Swinging a hammer, working hard. And I'm not really concerned about like making more money, I guess, as of right now. I have a nest egg, but like if I were to put, let's say 10-15% down, like I could do that, but that's draining now everything. So, but that's what I'm saying. It's like, so does that matter?
No.
You don't think so?
No.
Because I don't care about...
And I'm just saying this to you. I'm not saying this to anyone listening. Everyone's different, but I do know your situation pretty well.
Yeah.
And you'll figure it out.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out. It's only going to be harder to figure out.
Yeah, true.
And I'll lend you like $100 if you need.
You'll buy me a pizza if I'm
with
starving
interest.
with interest.
I said lend, not give.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Anyway, we'll wrap this up here. I do think, Dylan, though, for you, yes, let's start working smart in buying houses too.
Yeah.
Because you're already there with the business.
I have the house hacking mindset. I think we should coin that, house hacking mindset.
Yeah.
It's because it's across all different realms, and
it's the mindset. I agree with that. It's more so than actually doing it.
Yes.
To start.
Yeah. Agreed. So I don't know how we were on time there, but
Frank gave us the 20.
Oh,
you gave us 20 about 2 minutes ago.
20. That's perfect then.
Yeah.
So, all right, wrap it up. Like, share, comment.